Deep Purple just dropped their 23rd studio album, Equals One, and when legends like Deep Purple come out with new material, I'm always skeptic. First of all, can they still create something? Can they sing? Are they going to be tearing up their legacy and people are going to be telling them it's time to retire? And let's face it, guys, what kind of exciting stuff can a band that was founded in 1968 in London be coming up with in 2024? Let's find out. In 2022, the longest-serving guitarist of the band, Steve Morse, leaves to take care of his wife that was sick. And for most bands that consist of 70-something-year-olds, that would have been the end. But Deep Purple is built differently. They have survived a lot of lineup changes, and in the last few years they have released albums more frequently than some people change underwear. Some of them have been good, and some of them have been weird, but more on that later. So Deep Purple goes out to look for a new guitarist, and they find Simon McBride in Northern Ireland. He is the new kid in the band, because when he was born in April 1979, the band had already released 10 legendary albums and was on hiatus. He was fed this music from his dad actually, he was a rocker, so I'm pretty sure that when he was listening to Fireball and Burn and all these albums as a kid, he never imagined that he would be sharing a stage with his legends in the future. So with Simon McBride on board, we have Mark 9 of Deep Purple, which consists of Ian Pace, Ian Gillan, Roger Glover and Dawn Airy. I saw them live last year and I was kind of impressed with their energy and sound, and you can actually check my review from that concert up here. I actually thought that would be the last thing I would see of this band, so when they announced that they were coming with a new album, I was a little bit skeptic. Like I said before, are they going to harm the legacy? Sometimes it's better left untouched somehow. And actually I had liked the last album, but it didn't really rock, you know, Whoosh. I liked that album, it was a feel-good album, but it was not like a rocker. And then a year after Whoosh turned into Crime Comes, the cover album, I didn't like that album. There was something totally off. It was weird. I don't know what it is. I usually like cover albums, but this one was just totally off. And then the million-dollar question is, can a 78-year-old Ian Gillan still pull it off one more time on a record? But then the single started dropping and I was like, that's not so bad. And I was intrigued. The first track of the album, Show Me, kind of sets the tone. It really gives a hint. Starts with a really cool guitar intro, and then also even in the lyrics, I think Ian Gillan says something like, show me what you got there. For me, it's clear that this song is kind of put there for a purpose. They want to let us know that there is a new kid in town, and that kid is now the sheriff. And later in that song, there is a really, really cool kind of call and response between Simon McBride and Dawn Airy on the keyboards. And it works. It's really, really cool. What surprises me though is how heavy this stuff is. The second song, A Bit on the Side, kind of continues that heaviness. It has like a double bass and a really cool guitar riff. One of those riffs that I think if it would have been put out in the 70s, everybody would know it by now. Overall, what I feel is that the sound on this album is just perfect. The mix is great, the sound quality is amazing, the clarity of the instrument. This is the 5th album actually that they do with this guy, Bob Ezrin, but he's no amateur. I mean, he's done Kiss, he's been all over the place. The third song, Sharpshooter, starts as a kind of a bluesy classic rock song, but has also a really great kind of keyboard and guitar solo in it. So heavy bridge, bright chorus, but has this kind of more of a Deep Purple trademark somehow. And it's kind of after those 3 songs that I realized, okay, guys, it's on, and it's big time on. But this album is 13 songs, so I have 10 more songs to go, and I was sure there will be fillers here, and a few of them. The 4th song is Portable Door. That was one of the singles, and I don't feel that that song actually kind of represents what this album is about. I mean, there are songs on here that I feel that are much more adventurous, both in the kind of the songwriting and all the soundscapes and all that stuff. But that's the whole thing with this album. It's very diverse actually. There are songs on here like this old fangled things. There's more of like a boogie song, and it's almost like it's not the same band that did the first 3 songs of the album. The final song on the album is called Bleeding Obvious, and that's a song that you really, really don't know where it's gonna take you somehow. It starts with kind of a folkish, proggish vibe or something like that, and goes into like a very kind of chugging riff, super, super heavy. And the solo part on here is just amazing. This song is some sort of an opus, and it's there where I realized, okay, Ian Gillan is actually pulling this stuff off. So my concerns about him were not valid at all. I mean, he has found a way somehow to use his voice so that he stays loyal to his roots, but he still doesn't try to do stuff that he can't really do. And I feel that often with some of these older singers when they're putting out material now, that they're kind of relying too much on technology to fix their voice, so it often becomes artificial. I just don't feel that here with Ian Gillan. There is a ballad on this album that is called I'll Catch You. And on that, we get kind of a naked, vulnerable Ian Gillan somehow. And the oldness and the tiredness of the voice is actually the charm of the song. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Johnny Cash's American Recordings, where, big part of the charm of that stuff was the fact that this was an old man singing. And I think, yeah, Ian Gillan definitely brings that to this album. The rest of the band is rock solid. The drumming and the bass is top-notch quality, as I kind of expected, of course. And I think Don Airey gives a lot of kind of cool interplay with the guitar somehow and some of the soundscapes that he's using, I feel are a little bit more adventurous and diverse than they were on the previous albums. So what is it that makes this band so different now in 2024 than it was just back in 2020? Well, the secret sauce is Simon McBride. I feel that there is some sort of a renewed energy that he brings. I mean, he feels heavier than Steve Morse for sure. And it's not just the sound, it's also the songwriting and the structures and the arrangement of the songs that are somehow different. There is something about this album that I haven't really heard for a really long time from this band. It's somehow both old and new, it's heavy and bluesy, and I'm not sure that there is any other band out there making music exactly like this nowadays. I would be very happy if you would tell me about a band like that. So in those 13 songs, there are definitely no fillers. Every song brings something that kind of takes your attention and gets you to really want to listen to it. Didn't really see this coming from them. And if this is where the band is going, I really, really hope that they're not going to retire anytime soon. The pros of this album is that it's amazing songwriting. These are songs that kind of take you places, but they still kind of clock in around 4 minutes or something like that. There is always something happening. There is just something that kind of keeps your attention the whole time. There's not a minute wasted here into anything that is not fun to listen to. The singing is bloody good for a 78-year-old for sure. Simon McBride brings heaviness, and he gives this album kind of like a mean-ass character somehow. It's rough and heavy, but still kind of cool and sophisticated at the same time. And the band is just in top form. Now, the negatives, I can't really say anything negative about this album. If I have to pick something, I could say that maybe the cover could have been a little bit more fun, but still, it is fun. So I'm gonna give this album 9.5 out of 10. For me, this is absolutely their best work for 30 years since Perfect Strangers. I would be very happy to hear what you have to say about this album, if you like it, what you like about it, what you don't like about it. And if you're still here and you're still awake, then I would be very happy if you'd like this video and subscribe to my channel for more album reviews, concept reviews, and interviews. And talking about Deep Purple legends, then I just did an interview with Glenn Hughes when he was celebrating his 50 years of Burn and his time in Deep Purple. You can check that interview up here. And actually, I did also a concert review of his concert from that night, and you can see that down here.